everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, are you open to learning new things and making sure you have that learner's mindset, because it's super important in becoming good at anything it is that you want to become good at. So I like to refer to this as like the white belt mentality, in terms of if you're in martial arts, like the white belt is the new belt. You don't have any stripes. I did Taekwondo when I was in like third grade, but still, I think everyone knows that a white belt is someone who's a noob, who is new, who is learning. And it's very important to have that learner's mindset, that white belt mentality. I don't know why I keep messing that word up. You've got to be curious. You've got to be open to being a noob or a beginner, and you've got to be kind of humble. It's a little bit of a humbling experience because you have to admit that you don't know something and that you don't know everything, right? We like to think that we know everything sometimes. We like to trick ourselves into believing like, oh, we got this, or we more or less understand this. But sometimes things go straight over your head, right? I'm thinking like high school chemistry or biology. But there's a lot of power in admitting that you don't know something, because when you admit that to yourself and to others and you're open to learning and you just start asking questions, that's when you truly learn and grasp new information. If you act like you know everything and you're not willing to learn anything new, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to really meet interesting people because you're going to think you're too good for them. And this goes back to that saying that says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, because you're not going to grow. You've got to be in a room where you feel like the small fish again. And you're like, gosh, I don't even know if I belong in this room. That person's a multimillionaire and that person owns like this part of downtown and they constructed all of this. When you meet people who've done really, really amazing things that make your accomplishments look like you just finished second grade, that's when you start to level up, because you're meeting people who are at a high level. They're operating at a different frequency. Their networks are incredible. Whereas you may know a couple of like top producing real estate agents or top salespeople in a certain thing. They know people who've built and sold companies for millions and billions of dollars in many cases. And there's a quote that I saw online from Edna Ferber. I don't know if I'm supposed to know who that is. I feel bad if I don't, but Edna had this quote that's pretty popular and I've heard before, saying, "A closed mind is a dying mind." Let me say that again. A closed mind is a dying mind. If you're not growing, you are dying. If you're not learning, you're not growing. So therefore, if you're not learning, you're dying. I think I said that right. But make sure to have an open mind, be open to learning, admit when you don't know stuff, because there's so many things that we don't know. But this kind of ties into another episode that I talked about previously, who, not how. You don't always have to know. You don't always have to figure it out. If you find the right who, they can kind of figure out the how, or maybe they already know the how, so that you don't have to figure it all out. But still, there is some fun and power in learning. My life coach actually told me that I've optimized my life in such a way, and I've delegated everything out and automated everything, where I get a little stir crazy, I get a little bored, like I don't know what to work on, what to spend my time on. And she told me, it's kind of funny, like I try to get rid of all the problems and stress. And she told me that I need to find optimal stress. Apparently, there is an optimal level of stress where you're challenging yourself and you're learning new things, and your brain is growing and you're giving yourself some mental exercises. And I've simplified everything and dumbed everything down so much that I'm not really getting that. And so now I'm learning new things. I mentioned this on the last episode. I'm learning how to do stuff like Instagram Reels and TikToks, and maybe I can do some research on engagement and the right hashtags to use. And so now I'm kind of learning something new. I might go through a course, but then again, I struggle with it. Like, how much should I really learn? Because part of me just goes straight to finding the right who and delegating, because I don't want to figure it all out. Like, I'm not a detail person, but there could be some fun and joy in that, right? So my life coach also mentioned, like, what if you took up cooking, or do you like cooking? And I'm like, no, I get meal prep food. I don't cook anything. I don't clean. I don't do dishes anymore. I just outsource that too. But she mentioned it could be helpful if I found it nice to cook. I could take that up as a hobby. I can spend some time in the kitchen, making different dishes, and spend some time with my fiance doing that maybe. And I'm like, no, I like to eat, like I just want the food to be ready. I don't want to have to sit there and smell it for 3 hours as I'm baking and doing all kinds of stuff. I don't know. I'm impatient and I get hungry, and then I snack while I cook. And then by the time the food's all done, I've already kind of like eaten a little bit of everything. At least that's what would happen when I used to cook. But anyway, many people love teaching what they know, right? People love talking about themselves. They love talking about their businesses. They love sharing their information on podcasts. And so the beauty in that is that if you're a learner and you have that white belt mentality, you have that learner's mindset and you're open and you ask questions, they'll give you all the answers. And many times, like true givers, they don't hold all their cards to their chest. They're willing to teach you. They're willing to share whatever they've learned and spent their life for decades figuring out. Like they'll spill the beans for you. And so I kind of like to do that, is just ask questions like, oh, how did you do this? Or how did you do that? I go to top producing real estate agents or, millionaire investors, and I just listen, take some notes. And maybe there's a question that I'm struggling with and they've already figured it out years ago. I can get a shortcut in a way by just asking them how they did it, taking some notes, listening, maybe asking a follow-up question. And that's going to be way more valuable than me acting like I already know everything and not having that learner's mindset. Because if I didn't ask that question, I didn't tap into their knowledge pool, then I'm the one who's losing, because I think I'm acting like I know everything here when clearly I don't, versus approaching them and saying, hey, I know I don't know everything. I want to be at the level that you're at. Can you please teach me? I mean, just 5 minutes of your time answering a quick question. Like, dude, you get a nugget here, you get a nugget there. You do that long enough, you can make some pretty amazing discoveries and changes in your business. And one more point that I added here is that if you're genuinely interested, you can't just fake interest and ask questions and try to build up fake rapport unless you're a really, really good phony and faker. Like, I guess that's the same thing, phony and faker. You are not going to really develop true rapport and relationships with people. They can kind of sense that if you're being real or not, at least the vibe check, right? We always talk about, did they pass the vibe check? Yes or no. You can get good vibes or bad vibes on somebody. And sometimes you misread them, but for the most part, sometimes people rub you the wrong way. Sometimes people like rub you the right way, where you're like, hey, they're a great person. I'd love to have them in my network. I want to stay connected. I want to see how I can help them, how they can help me. How can we work together? And so if you're genuinely interested in others, you can learn some amazing things and you can actually do something that we all should be focusing on, which is creating meaningful relationships. We don't want, and this is my problem that I'm struggling with now too, is like, I'm a great networker. I meet a lot of people and I make a lot of friends very quickly. I make fast friends, right? I talked about this in the last episode. I made a friend in the hot tub. We talked for 10 minutes. And at the recovery session I go to, the recovery center, and literally 3 weeks later, my fiance has a written job offer from the company that this guy works at because they were hiring. Like, that's pretty cool. And I patted myself on the back for sure on that. But the only downside is if I do that frequently and I'm always meeting a bunch of people, I have a lot of these little surface level relationships that don't go that deep. What I really want to work towards is developing a few key relationships, like maybe 5 people, right? Because you hear that quote, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Maybe I just need to go really, really deep with 5 people in terms of like knowing their family members, like their spouse, going to dinner, going to lunch with them, having them over to my place, game night, playing a Nintendo Switch, which I just recently bought because I hadn't played video games in so many years and I finally caved and bought a system and it's been a lot of fun. Mario Party and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. If any gamers are out there listening, it is okay to have some downtime and play games from time to time. And as you know, I'm not super hustle mode. I'm like kind of anti-hustle. I'm all about work-life balance. So definitely enjoy the fruits of your labor. If you've built your business and designed your life in a way where you're able to optimize and you're able to delegate and outsource a lot and automate, and you're making that income that you need to make to support your life without putting in all the time, go for it. Spend your time how you please. That's what I built my life this way for. But anyway, we're focusing on having deeper relationships and inviting people over. Tomorrow night, as of this recording, Saturday night, we're going to be doing a game night where my fiance is probably at Best Buy right now buying 2 more controllers so that we can play 4 players, Mario Party and stuff. And we're going to just go deep with a couple of relationships, make some real friendships, learn about them. What do they like? What do they dislike? I already know what they do. They know what we do. There's some synergies there. One of the guys coming over, it's a couple. The wife is in accounting, like my fiance, and the husband is a loan officer, and I'm a real estate agent. So there's some synergies there because we have to work together to help people buy houses, right? So that's just a quick example of how I'm trying to go deep and have meaningful relationships. And maybe I can learn something from him about this new market that we just moved to. He can learn something from me on how I'm closing deals virtually, right? There's a lot of things that you can pick up and cross-pollination of ideas and things like that. Synergy, I know a lot of people use that word. It's like a buzzword, but I do love that word because you can learn so much. You give and you receive, and it's just great big happy circle of everyone helping each other out and us all winning and climbing that ladder of success. So I know I've been doing a lot more short episodes, solo episodes recently. I kind of got burnt out on too many interviews, and also just wanted to make sure that I really dial in the guests to bring you the most value. And so for that reason, I've had this spurt of several shorter podcasts. And I have noticed that because it's been a while since I've done so many solo shows. If you've listened to the show for a long time, I used to have several. They typically be about 10 or 15 minutes long, if I could remember correctly. And now that I do interviews, those tend to be 45 minutes to an hour because you can talk about a lot more with somebody and ramble and go in all kinds of different directions. But when you're talking solo just by yourself and you're like, oh man, I already finished today's topic in like 5 minutes. What else do I talk about? I just want to make sure I don't fill the space with junk that you won't find helpful. And so that's kind of the reason. But I'd love to hear, do you like these episodes? Do you want me to do more interviews? I mean, honestly, I just want to engage more with my audience and figure out what is it that you want? What kind of content do you like? Do you like shorter content, longer episodes, interviews, solo podcasts? Maybe bring on a specific guest or something, or a specific expert on something. Please do let me know. Shoot me a DM. My Instagram handle is Chris Bello _. And yeah, look forward to helping you, serving you, connecting with you. And again, if you have any real estate questions, shoot me a DM on that too. I'm figuring out what kind of content I want to post. Love productivity, love mindset, love becoming a better person. I saw a funny meme that was throwing real estate agents under the bus, and it was like how these young real estate agents do it. You know, like it had like the slick back hair picture and like a suit that's too tight. And it had like a text that said like, feel free to reach out. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely my call to action all the time. But the thing that was really funny about it is that a lot of real estate agents, it's just like you gel your hair back, you have a suit that's too tight, and you just post motivational and fitness quotes and like thumbnails and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of me lately because I just work out. I'm trying to get better. Self-improvement is very big in the sales space, whether it's real estate or you're selling insurance or anything. Like any of my sales friends that I've met, or even business owners and entrepreneurs, they want to get better, right? You're focusing on improving yourself in all areas of your life: fitness, health, wealth, relationships, right? Those are the main niches or niches that people talk about. You want to increase your net worth. You want to have amazing relationships, both with your spouse or significant other or with friends. And you also health, wealth, and relationships. Yeah, you need money to pay bills and live an amazing, abundant life. You need amazing relationships to celebrate your life with. And if you don't have your health, if you're not in good shape and you don't take care of yourself, what good are the other things if you're not around for a long time to enjoy them, right? So anyway, just let me know what you want to hear about. Frequency of shows. I've been doing 2 a week for a while. I'm not sure if I need to dial it down to 1 a week and just really go deep and add the best content, or does this stuff kind of from the heart, from the dome, the top of my head, does this stuff make sense, or am I rambling too much? Any feedback's appreciated, honestly, because I mean, I have people who did a survey I did recently, or not recently, it was probably like a year or two ago at this point, but I was kind of trying to find out some more information. Do you want short episodes, long episodes, interviews, solo episodes? And I was pleasantly surprised to see a lot of listeners just said, I'll listen to anything you put out, Chris. I don't care about the length, the topic, solo or interview, I'll just listen to it all. So if that's how you feel, let me know. If you prefer something else, let me know. And I know it's going to be a little bit different depending on the individuals listening. We all have different things that we like and ways that we consume content, but it helps give me some feedback so I know what to continue to put out there. But with that being said, that's it for this episode. I'll catch you on the next one. Reach out to me on Instagram. Let's connect. Let me see how I can help. Have a great day.